Greetings, it's Vaygrim, back again with another episode of Mod Guide. In this particular episode, I would like to talk about power, early game power. Specifically, I've got a lot of solutions laid out in front of me, and we'll go over them one by one. I'm going to start off with thermal expansion, because all of these mods use Redstone Flux, and they do work with other power systems like Minecraft Joules from Buildcraft, but they're primarily RF mods now, which was created by thermal expansion. So I thought it would be only polite to start off with thermal expansion itself. Now we have some dynamos here, and basically, there you go. Let's see, the steam dynamo. 11 copper ingots, 2 iron ingots, 3 redstone, 1 silver. Basically, all of these put out 80 RF per tick. Even the Reactant dynamo puts out 80 RF per tick. The difference is what they put that 80 RF per tick out with. That's the question. Things like the Reactant dynamo can use stuff like glowstone or gas tiers, of all things, for fuel. And basically, how long the fuel burns is dependent upon, or how long you get power from a Reactant dynamo is dependent upon what combination of fluids you put in it. I have not done all the research on that. Somebody else has done the research on it. I'm going to link in the video description below a spreadsheet that has been done that actually lists out all the different Reactant dynamo combinations and how long you'll get 80 RF per tick from what combinations. But all of these give 80 redstone flux per in-game tick. Whoops. The steam dynamo on the left. Then you have the magmatic dynamo. Runs off lava. 11 iron ingots and 4 ferrous ingots. That's to make Invar and to make some Invar gears. And then you have redstone and 3 redstone, 1 silver. The compression dynamo, 3 redstone, 1 silver, 11 iron ingots, 11 tin ingots, 2 iron ingots. And the Reactant dynamo, which uses bronze. Now, I didn't break down the bronze in this specifically because, depending upon what mod you use to get bronze, your yield could be completely different. All of these numbers are resonant rise numbers for all the different recipes and how they get put together. They might vary slightly from other mod pack to other mod pack, but I'm using resonant rise right now as my baseline. So, 11 bronze ingots, 1 silver, 3 redstone, and 2 iron ingots. In the grand scheme of things, that's not real bad. They all put 80 RF per tick. The question is how long a unit of fuel lasts, and that's going to vary greatly. The steam dynamo can actually go through coal, like you see right here. It just ran out. It can go through coal pretty quickly. The magmatic dynamo is just as bad, I think. The compression dynamo uses fuel. I have a tank down here that's got fuel from Buildcraft in it. You can only use oil for Buildcraft, but I think the fuel burns longer than oil does because it's refined. So these are all pretty good numbers. They're not real bad in the grand scheme of things. You know, these are 80 RF per tick. What other options do you have besides these 4? Well, we step past here into the Mekanism section. Mekanism is a lot of different things. They've got passive power over here. This is where things start varying up a little bit. Actually, let's start with the simple stuff first. The heat generator. Heat generator uses coal. And one unit of coal, one piece of coal gives you 6,400 RF at 10 RF per tick. That basically means that if you stick a battery up to it, it will put, one piece of coal will put 6,400 RF into that battery. Now, that's important, and we'll come back to why that's important later. That number is about the same. Let's see. 8,400, if we get one piece of coal. I'm sorry, that was 184,000. We could put one piece of coal in there, and we'll come back to that in just a second. But basically, this will give you 6,400 RF for a single piece of coal. It does it at 10 RF per tick. Now, here's the thing. It also generates power at 10 RF per tick if you put lava on all 5 sides. I think it's about 2 RF per tick per side that has lava around it. So yeah, that means that you can either put coal into it for this kind of a turnaround, or you can do something like this. This is 2 tiers. There are basically a star pattern. There's a heat generator there and there, there and there. And then there's a layer of lava on top of them. Beneath them, there's another set of 4 on the bottom with lava beneath those. So you have 8 heat generators in here, each one completely surrounded on 5 sides with lava, which means that each one is generating 10 RF per tick. This power plant design is 80 RF per tick of free power. It doesn't consume or burn the lava. It does not use the lava in any way in general. It's just basically exploiting the heat from the lava to generate power. I really like these for long-term solutions. Now, the heat generator, it's 3 iron ingots, 1 osmium ingot, 2 copper ingots, 8 cobblestone, and 2 wood planks. And you do a build like this with a few buckets of lava, you can get by with probably 8, maybe 12 buckets of lava well placed in something like this. And this will generate 80 RF per tick forever. No maintenance, no fuel, no nothing. Just don't do it in a wood house. That's the only thing I suggest. This is a real good machine, I think. I see this as really good because basically this build right here, while it's large, it generates the same power as one of those, yes. But this is no maintenance. It's no fuel. It's no muss, no fuss. And you could put these in your basement all over the place. Just place them under your base, hide them away, and forget about them. Now, on the other side of things, let's go check and see. So, 184,000. That is 31,000 RF of power from one piece of coal. Now, that's pretty good. That is a really, really good use of the coal. In terms of burning coal, I believe that the steam dynamo uses water. You have to supply it with water, but water is easy to come by, and it doesn't require any power to provide. I think that the steam dynamo generates the most power per piece of coal. It's about 32,000 RF. And that's hard to top in the grand scheme of things. It's just a question of materials cost, I guess. 11 copper ingots, 2 iron ingots, a silver ingot, some redstone. I am a big fan of heat generators, but you've also got some different power sources over here in Mekanism. There's a wind turbine. Now, this thing generates 24 RF per tick, but that's at Y level of 60. Basically, the Y level, as you see, there's X, Y, and Z over in there in the upper left-hand corner of my screen. The Y level is your vertical position on the map. And the higher up a turbine is placed, the stronger the RF output is. So while this is 24 RF per tick at ground level, at sea level, and this is 72 RF per tick during the day, a wind turbine placed at Y level, let's say 190, 200, will easily power more than this, and it does it 24/7. That's pretty good. Now, to start off the solar power, there's a little thing there in the back, the daytime only, simple solar, basically that's just called a solar generator. That's the basic one. This is the advanced one. Now, let's see, solar generator right here in the back, 9 glass panes, 17 redstone, 9 osmium, 6 iron ingots, 2 osmium dust, and 3 gold ingots. Honestly, this is only 12 RF per tick. A heat generator, which costs a lot less, generates 10 RF per tick if you just surround it with lava. So I really don't think this is that good of a deal. And to make things worse, advanced solar generator, yes, it's 72 RF per tick, but it's only during the day. And when you compare 36 glass panes, 70 redstone, 36 osmium ingots, 29 iron ingots, 8 osmium dust, and 12 gold ingots to a wind turbine, this can out-generate an advanced solar generator if you put it at a higher Y level, and it runs all the time. It's not daytime dependent. It only needs exposure to the sky above it. That's the only limitation. This thing is only 3 osmium ingots, 6 iron ingots, 16 redstone, and 6 gold ingots. I really do think that out of all of this, if you have altitude as an advantage, I would use this. Otherwise, the heat generator is more bang for your buck than the daytime generator, and you have to make a whole bunch of the solar generators. You need 4 of those just for this. So that's something to think about. This is the biofuel generator. Biofuel generator is 48 RF per tick. 1 unit of fuel, which is biofuel, this stuff right here, will generate 9,600 RF. Now, that's pretty good. That's real good in the grand scheme of things. If you have a tree farm, you could feed a tree farm into a crusher, because basically you get saplings or wood or logs or other plant matter and run it through a crusher and Mekanism, and you get biofuel. And that gets turned into this. Different things will give you different amounts of biofuel. Some saplings give you more biofuel, some give you less. I don't use this a lot because it requires a tree farm, and I still have to make a crusher just to make the fuel. If I'm going to use heat generators for charcoal, it seems like it's a lot easier for charcoal or coal because I don't have to power a crusher. Yeah, it seems easier. This thing, I don't see a lot of people use this. I think mostly because they don't really understand it, but it's a good option early mid game. Moving out, well, actually, the last thing in Mekanism, we have the hydrogen generator. The hydrogen generator is 120 RF per tick. And you need at least 1 electrolytic separator. If you're going to be running a hydrogen generator constantly, powering machines that run constantly, you're going to need 2 to keep it topped off with hydrogen, at least. That is still going. So basically, 1 hydrogen generator, 1 electrolytic separator is not enough to power a hydrogen generator to run 24/7. You actually have to have at least 2 of them to keep it topped off. It really only takes like 1.5, but you can't make half an electrolytic separator. So in order to get the hydrogen generator made, where is it? Right there. Oh, that's the cost for the biogenerator. Only 6 redstone, 5 iron ingots, and 2 biofuel. But you do have to have a crusher in order to make the fuel for this. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not a bad deal. Hydrogen generator itself is 6 osmium, 8 steel ingots, 7 redstone, 7 iron ingots, 2 osmium dust, 1 iron dust, 1 gold dust. But the thing is, you need at least 1 electrolytic separator. That's 11 iron ingots, 9 redstone, 2 osmium dust, 1 iron dust, 1 gold dust. You need at least 2 of these really to keep an hydrogen generator run 24/7. But you're going to need at least 1 of these and these together. So, and also the electrolytic separator needs an external power source. So I am powering mine with the wind turbine, but really that's not generating enough power. Each one of these needs 20 RF per tick. I would really need at least 2 of these. Or I could do it with 2 heat generators that are surrounded by lava, and each one could be dedicated to running the hydrogen generators. I think that might be a better idea in the grand scheme of things. There's one thing I need to point out, by the way, when you're looking at machines from Mekanism. This right here is not the power output. That's usually twice the power output. That is how quickly it can output power from its power reserves. That is not how much power it generates. This is 72 RF per tick, and I can show you. This is a network reader from Mekanism. You right-click and you see buffer down there in the chat. Buffer is how much it's generating. You can do throughput of 1440 RF per tick. That's 20 ticks per second. That divides out to 72 RF per tick, basically, on the machine itself. Just like over here, the wind turbine says output of 192, but that's not what it's generating. It's actually only generating 24. That's a pretty big difference. So do not be misled by these. This is not the power you're getting generated. It's just how quickly it can empty its internal reserve. That's it. So, you know, it's the same thing over here, 80 RF per tick. People think, oh, a heat generator is the same as a dynamo from thermal expansion. It's actually not. This thing only outputs 10 RF. So you need to keep that in mind. Just like the hydrogen generator, everybody thinks it's 240 RF per tick. It's only 120. That is just the rate that it can empty the internal power reserves. That's it. That's all that is, folks. So now moving out of Mekanism into some other options. This is the Stirling generator from Ender IO. The Stirling generator can actually get one piece of coal and generate 16,000 RF per tick. Now here's the thing, right? The Stirling generator is 5 stone bricks, 19 cobblestone, 8 sticks, 3 wood planks, 1 iron ingot, 1 redstone. It's actually very cheap. It's all stone and cobblestone with a couple, 1 iron ingot, 1 redstone. This thing is really, really good. And you need very, very few actual metals. It generates more power per unit of coal than the actual heat generator does, and is only bested by the compression generator. I mean, the compression dynamo. But the compression dynamo needs not only coal, but water or steam. And the compression dynamo actually uses, the steam dynamo uses, not the compression dynamo, the steam dynamo, I'm sorry. The steam dynamo uses 11 iron ingots and 2 iron ingots, 1 silver ingot. So this is a lot more resource intensive. But for that, you do get twice the bang per coal. In a second. Now, this is crazy. I readily admit this is not early game power, but I think it's early-ish game power, depending upon how big of a power gamer you are. This is a big reactor, okay? This thing is 3 by 3. The only thing it has in the middle of it is 1 yellorium fuel rod. That's it. It's got 1 control rod on the top. It has a controller, a power tap, and an access port. I even threw in a redstone control just for the sake of fun. But this thing actually generates 261 RF per tick. And it has an amazingly high fuel efficiency. So this thing will burn. It only uses 4 ingots to fill it up, 4 ingots of yellorium, and it'll burn for a long time on those 4 ingots. So you get a lot of power. Now, here's the thing. This thing is also technically a battery as well, a 10 million RF stockpile of battery storage. That's way more than anything else here. The big reactor is absurd. The numbers are downright crazy. This is using 41 reactor casings. That's what this edge is made out of. 1 controller, a power tap, an access port, a yellorium fuel rod, a control rod, and a redstone port. Now, what that means is that's 171 iron ingots. But really, that's only about 3 stacks. And if you have access to something like Mekanism, you could get early game ore tripling and make this very, very quick. 169 graphite ingots. All that is 169 pieces of coal that have been run through a smelter, like a furnace. That's it. That's 3 stacks of coal run through a furnace and turned into graphite ingots. Or charcoal works also. 45 yellorium ingots to make it. 9 redstone, 1 gold, 1 diamond, 11 wood planks, and 4 cobblestone. Really, the only big hurdle for this is the iron. That's it. But if you're a dedicated miner and you really are hunting hard, you could easily get the yellorium and the iron for this inside of your first couple of hours of hunting. It's more an issue of, are you going to sit down with either a quartz grinder or something like that and hammer out all of that ore to make sure you double it early game? Or do you want to get something like maybe a Stirling generator and just put some machines on either side of it and have it slowly grind through your iron ore while you're making all the parts for this? Now, that being said, 171 iron ingots, 171 iron ingots only nets you enough power that's slightly more than 3 times that of one of these dynamos at the front. The big difference is, yes, this is 80 RF and that's 260. So this is basically 3 or 4 of these could easily beat that. I think 4 of them could. But the big difference is that you're going to put 4 ingots of yellorium in and walk away for hours, even if it's running constantly. And I'm not kidding on that. You can run one of these reactors for the better part of a day on a very, very small amount of fuel. That's the big difference with Big Reactor. You're going to spend more up front and have a greater fuel efficiency long term. That being said, this is 80 RF per tick for free. These things can easily generate more than 100 RF per tick if you're up at Y level 190, and that's free. All you need is open sky above it. That's it. So, hydrogen generators. 120 RF per tick from water. So there's a lot of options that you have when you use big mod packs like Resonant Rise, or even some of the Feed the Beast mod packs that have all these mods in there. I don't think Mekanism's in any of the Feed the Beast mod packs. I'm not sure, though. But I really hope this kind of tickles your brain and makes you think about options, makes you think about what has better return, more bang for your buck. I don't mean this video for the sake of optimizing, for the sake of min-maxing things, trying to get the maximum amount of power with the least amount of effort. It's more to let you know that there's options out there you may not even know about. And there's some options here I haven't addressed that I might return to later. But I thought this video was worth doing. I really do, because there's a lot of people that don't realize there are better power options than just dynamos from thermal expansion. There are other options you can use than just the wind turbines from Mekanism. Things like a mid-game, a very early mid-game reactor you could get up and going. And start putting your coal to other use. Because the only thing you have use for your yellorium, if you're digging it up, the only use you have is a reactor. Just like the good part about a lot of the Mekanism things is that they use osmium. The only thing osmium gets used for is Mekanism stuff. So it's not taking away iron and gold and diamonds or redstone from other places. And that's good. I think that's really, really good. That's the downside to thermal expansion. All the materials thermal expansion uses require materials that would be going to other mods. It uses Invar and Electrum, but Invar and Electrum is made of iron and ferrous or gold and silver, respectively. And that's materials that would be going to other purposes in other mods. So if you have a materials pinch, I hope this map and this little episode will help you think and maybe figure out better what you want to do, give you a better concept of what options are out there. Let me know in the comments below if it helped, or maybe you have a tip on some power option I didn't address here. Please make sure and share it in the comments section, and share this video with your friends and get their opinions on it also. Thank you very much for joining me. This is Vaygrim signing off. As always, I appreciate you spending your time watching my video. Bye-bye.